Yes, students, good morning. And today, in the continuation for the video lectures on fluid mechanics, we are going to discuss the part 10 of the video lecture. And in this part of the video lecture, we are going to discuss about the fluids which is in motion. Because before this part, we had discussed about the hydrostatics part where we had considered the fluid is at rest. But in hydrodynamics part, we will discuss that if a pressure difference is acting in a fluid, then due to that pressure difference, the fluid starts flowing from high pressure to low pressure. So this pressure difference is the main cause of flow of fluid, and a force is applied in the horizontal direction over the fluid which makes it to flow. So hydrodynamics, it is the part, it is the part of fluid mechanics where we consider the fluid in motion due to pressure difference due to pressure difference. So this is the part of fluid mechanics in which we consider the fluid is in motion due to pressure difference. So there are various type of flow in fluid mechanics, and the first type of flow is streamline flow. Streamline flow. And what is the meaning of a streamline flow? In a streamline flow, we will discuss that suppose there is a fluid like this, then each particle is moving with same velocity in same direction, so the streamline flow of a liquid is that flow in which each particle of the liquid passing through a point travel along the same path with the same velocity. Particle travel along the same path with the same velocity as the preceding particles. Means whatever the particles before this, in the path before this particle moving in which direction, in that direction, in the same direction the other particle also moves, and all have the same velocity. So such type of flow is called as a streamline flow. And the properties of a streamline flow is no two streamline intersect each other, and tangent at any point in the path of streamline in the path of streamline shows the direction of motion of the streamline. So these are the two properties of the streamline. Now this is the streamline flow. Now we will discuss about the equation of continuity. Yes, students, now we are going to discuss about the equation of continuity. Equation of continuity. So, equation of continuity says that suppose there is a tube of different cross-sectional area. There is a tube of different cross-sectional area. Here, the cross-sectional area is A1 and the velocity of the fluid is V1, and here the cross-sectional area is A2 and the velocity here is V2. So if there is two cross-sectional areas, different cross-sectional areas, and during the streamline flow of the non-viscous incompressible fluid through a pipe of varying section, the product of area of cross-section and the normal fluid velocity remains constant throughout the fluid. So the velocity and the product of cross-sectional area. First, what we had taken? Non-viscous fluid and incompressible fluid. These are the assumptions we have to take. The fluid is non-viscous and it is incompressible, and for this condition we will discuss the equation of continuity. So according to equation of continuity, we have to derive A1 into V1 is equal to A2 into V2. A2 into V2, where A1 and A2 are the different cross-sectional areas and V1 and V2 are the velocities at this point. So let us go on the proof for equation of continuity. Yes, students, dear students, look at here. Here an incompressible non-viscous fluid is taken having cross-sectional area A1, and in time delta t it had moved from A to A dash and from here B to B dash in time interval delta t. So the distance traveled by the fluid from A to A dash is V dash delta t, and V1 is the velocity and V2 is the velocity here, and the distance traveled by the fluid from B to B dash is V2 delta 2. So V2 delta t, and A1 and A2 is the cross-sectional areas. So we have to, A1 is the cross-sectional area here and A2 is the cross-sectional area here. So we have to consider the mass moved from A to A dash in time interval delta t. So since the fluid is incompressible, since the fluid is incompressible, so during the flow from A to A dash and B to B dash, m remains constant. M is equal to constant. Mass is constant, and since mass is equal to constant, so mass of the fluid that entering through A in time delta t, mass entering through A in time delta t. So let us calculate that mass, and suppose that mass is m1. So m1 can be written as volume into density. Okay, so volume is what? Volume is equal to A1 is the cross sectional area, V1 into delta T. That will be the total mass which had traveled from A to A dash. Now mass living through V in time delta T. So it will be M2, and M2 is equal to what? Volume into density, and volume is what? A2 V2 into delta T. This is from B to B dash. As mass is constant we had taken, so we can take M1 is equal to M2, and density multiplied by density is same for both the cases, and since mass is constant, so we can taken it as A1 V1 into delta T into rho is equal to A2 V2 into delta T into rho. And here student, delta T cancel, rho to rho cancel, and it will become what? A1 V1 is equal to A2 V2. This is the equation of continuity. So we can say that the A1 V1 is equal to A2 V2. So from here we can say that product of area of cross section and velocity is equal to constant. This product AV is equal to constant, and so it is called as the product of A into V is constant in case of streamline flow if the liquid is incompressible and non-viscous. Now another type of flow we are going to discuss, that is called as laminar flow. Yes students, what is the meaning of laminar flow? Suppose there is a tube. This is a tube moving made of this, and in this tube liquid is flowing. Okay, so if the liquid is flowing in a manner that different layers have different velocities, different layers has different velocities because of internal friction between the layers, or the friction between the pipe and the liquid layers, and all the liquid particles has different velocities at different points. So such type of flow is called as laminar flow. It means that if a liquid flows in horizontal surface in the form of layers of different velocities, then the flow of liquid is called as laminar flow. Liquid layers flow with different velocities, so they are called as laminar flow. That type of flow is called as laminar flow. And another type of flow is called as turbulent flow. Turbulent flow. And what is turbulent flow? Turbulent flow means to say that suppose there is a obstacle in the path, and if the liquid layer is flowing after striking, they are moving with this type of velocities. So This type of flow is called as turbulent flow. So the flow of fluid in which velocity of all particles crossing a given point is not same and the motion of the flow become irregular or disordered. Motion of flow is irregular or disorder, then such type of flow is called as turbulent flow. Means in case of turbulent flow, if liquid layers are coming and they are going to strike with certain obstacle or hindrance, and the pattern of the liquid layers which are approaching to that obstacle is going to be changed due to the obstacle in the path of the liquid flow, then such type of flow is called as turbulent flow, and this condition is called as turbulency. This condition is called turbulency. This condition is called as turbulency, and this type of turbulent flow occurs for both the cases, either in the case of a streamline flow or laminar flow. If an obstacle comes into the path of the flow of the liquid layers and some disordered or irregular pattern of liquid layers we are going to observe, then such type of flow is called as turbulent flow. Now let us discuss about something about ideal fluid. And for the motion of the fluid, to understand the fluid dynamics in a simpler manner, fluid is ideal fluid, non-viscous, incompressible. It flow in a steady manner and irrotational. So what are the characteristics of ideal fluid? Because dear students, the study of fluid mechanics is some more complicated. So to reduce this complication, we will have to consider the fluid flow as an ideal fluid, and the condition for ideal fluid, the condition for ideal fluid is that first one is non-viscous, incompressible, irrotational, and one thing is that steady. Flow is steady. Flow is steady means all the particles will move with constant velocity, so the fluid is called as steady fluid. So for an ideal fluid, these conditions must be satisfied. So dear students, we had studied here about the three types of flow, that is streamlined flow, laminar flow, turbulent flow, and conditions for ideal fluid. Now we are going to take one of the interesting principle which is based on the fluid flow, and that principle is called as Bernoulli's theorem. So we are going to discuss about the Bernoulli's theorem for the fluid flow, which is based on the pressure difference, and on this basis we will discuss that the potential energy per unit volume plus kinetic energy per unit volume, that is equal to the total energy per unit volume or total pressure. The total pressure means the pressure which had been exerted plus kinetic energy per unit volume plus potential energy per unit volume, that is the total energy, and total energy of the liquid remains constant if the fluid is ideal. So let us discuss about Bernoulli's theorem. So dear students, now we are going to discuss Bernoulli's theorem. The Swiss physicist Swiss physicist Daniel Bernoulli in 1738. Okay, the Swiss physicist Daniel Bernoulli had developed this Bernoulli theorem by observing or studying over the motion of fluid in a pipe of different cross-sectional area, and he had developed the Bernoulli's theorem in the year 1738. And this theorem states that, what does the theorem says that, okay, this is based on conservation of energy, conservation of energy in a fluid flow, conservation of energy in a fluid flow. And this theorem says that, this theorem states that the sum of pressure energy per unit volume, the sum of pressure energy per unit volume, potential energy per unit volume and kinetic energy per unit potential, the sum of pressure energy per unit volume, kinetic energy per unit volume, and potential energy per unit volume of an ideal non-viscous incompressible fluid having no rotational effect, remains constant. And here we consider P is equal to pressure per unit volume, rho gh, potential energy per unit volume, half rho v square is equal to kinetic energy per unit volume. So we can say that P plus rho gh plus half rho v square, and this is equal to constant. So this is the statement and notions which are required for the proof of Bernoulli's theorem. So we can consider the proof for Bernoulli's theorem. Now we are going to discuss about proof for Bernoulli's theorem. Proof for Bernoulli's theorem. For this, we are going to consider the fluid which is flowing in different cross-sectional area. this is the different cross sectional area, this is base, and this height is h1, this height is h2, this height is h2, rho1, v1 and a1. Here rho1 velocity is v1 and cross sectional area is a1, and this section is called as a, and here the rho2 a2 v2, density rho2 a2 and v2, and this part is called as b. So P1 pressure, here pressure is, this is pressure is P1 and this is pressure is P2. So the pressure is P1 and P2. P1 is the pressure here, V1 is the velocity here, and A1 is the cross sectional area on the end A, and on the end B, P2 is the pressure, V2 is the velocity, and A2 is the cross sectional area. The height is h1 and the height is h2. So now we are going to discuss about the forces acting at point A. The force acting at point A. Force acting at point A. And what is the force acting at point A? This is equal to P1 into A1. This is the force acting at point A. And distance traveled by the fluid in 1 second. Distance traveled by fluid in 1 second. So this distance traveled is what? Look at here. That is equal to V1 into 1, that is equal to V1. This is V1 is the distance traveled by the fluid in 1 second. Work done per second. Work done per second by the fluid. Okay, so this work done is what? This work done is force into, so this work done W is equal to P1 into A1 into B1. This work done can be given by W1 and force into distance. The force is P1 A1 and V1 is the distance traveled per second. The work done per second for the cross sectional area A we had calculated, and work done per second. Work done per second by fluid at A and by the fluid at B. This is work done and this work done is W, and it is equal to P2 A2 into V2, because V2 into, if it is traveled at in 1 second, so V2 into 1 is equal to V2. Now we have to net work done by the fluid, net work done on the fluid by pressure energy. Net work done by pressure energy. Okay, so we have to calculate about the net work done, and net work done, W is equal to what? W is equal to what? W1 minus W2. Why it is minus sign? Because here the work done is in this side, and here the work done is this side, and here, since the pressure is exerted along this side for the liquid, because it is at higher position, there is a difference in the level. So if there is a difference in the level, then the liquid tries to apply the force in this direction. So it will be equal to what? It will be equal to P1 A1 B1 minus P2 A2 B2. This is the net work done, and A1 V1 is equal to A2 V2. A1 V1 is equal to A2 V2. A1 V1 is equal to A2 V2. And look at here. V1 is the distance traveled, A1 is the area. So it will become what? Volume. And volume can be written as mass into density, or density can be written as mass per unit volume. So we had written it as mass into density. So net work done W can be written as P1 m upon rho is minus P2 m upon rho, and here m upon rho P1 minus P2. Net work done W is equal to m upon rho P1 minus P2. Now total work done by the pressure energy on the fluid increases the kinetic energy and potential energy of the fluid when it flows from. So now we calculate the value of increase in kinetic energy and increase in potential energy. So increase in kinetic energy is what? Increase in kinetic energy when the liquid flow from point A to point B. Increase in kinetic energy when fluid flows from A to B. And increase in kinetic energy is what? 1 by 2 m1 v1 square minus 1 by 2 m2 v2 square. m1 v1 square, m by 2 m2 v2 square. So kinetic energy A to B, it will be equal to final minus initial increase. So half m v1 square minus half m v2 square, and it is equal to m by 2 v1 square v2 square minus v2 square minus v1 square. This is increase in kinetic energy. And increase in potential energy, increase in potential energy, that is equal to mgh2 minus mgh1, mgh2 minus mgh1. So this is the total pressure energy, this is increase in kinetic energy, this is increase in potential energy. So work done by the pressure energy is equal to total increase in energy. Work done by pressure energy is equal to total increase in energy. Total increase in energy. And what is the work done by pressure energy? So the work done by pressure energy is P1 m upon rho minus P2 m upon rho, and it is equal to m by 2 V2 square minus m by 2 V1 square plus mg H2 minus mg H1. Okay, dear students, now taking m common and cancelling it out, and it will become then what if m, so it will become P1 minus P2 minus P2 upon the rho, and it is equal to V2 minus V1 square upon 2 plus H2 minus H1. And now we can write it as P1 minus P2 and 1 by 2 rho V1 square, so we can write it as P1 plus rho V1 square divided by 2 plus rho G H1 is equal to P2 plus rho V2 square upon 2 plus rho G H2, or we can say that P1 plus half rho V1 square plus rho G H1 equal to P2 plus half rho V2 square plus rho G H2. And from here we can say that we can say that, look at here we can say that P plus half rho V square plus rho GH is equal to constant. It means to show that pressure energy per unit volume is equal to kinetic energy per unit volume, pressure energy per unit volume plus kinetic energy per unit volume plus potential energy per unit volume for an ideal fluid flowing in different cross-sectional area always remains the constant, and this is the Bernoulli's theorem. Okay, if you want to divide the above equation by rho G, then it will become what? P upon rho G plus half V square upon rho plus V square upon G plus H is equal to constant upon rho G. So dividing by rho G, you will get this equation. So this is all about Bernoulli's theorem. Now dear students, we will discuss in the next video certain applications of Bernoulli's theorem. Okay student, thank you. Have a nice day.